Hello, my friends, and welcome to Lesson 2. This is going to be the stories that you create, the content as you prepare it, okay? So as I go through my list, in this case, where does your information come from? What sources of information are you pulling from, right? To not only to be able to go through and structure your lesson, now you're going to get in a little bit deeper. The content as you prepare, like what are you going to prepare? What's going to be the story that you're going to tell, and those ingredients and that pattern back. So in this case, as I was preparing to teach teachers about the different psychological properties, which will be in another series, of what creates the variations under each of those psychological properties as they were related to in astrological and planetary alchemy. Right? I've got a manuscript written by a doctor of psychology that went through and lined up psychological applications and astrological applications. So depending on what zodiac sign you are, depending on what planetary sign you are, these are the principal questions that you face. These are the behaviors of that group of people, so that the application of that group of people then becomes something that you can study and you can apply. So having familiarity with a source material, in this case that book, and a thing to teach from that book creates new lessons, creates new content, creates new ways to explore what it is you have to teach. So that way you can batch like a baller, as was said by one of the guys in the video course by Pete the other day. Now, the relevant ingredients that are required to be able to pull that off. In this case, you would need that book, or at least excerpts from that book, and you would need to know what is required to know the planetary association or the astrological association, and that there is a psychological framework that you can build all of your stuff on to talk to people where they're at in the period of life that they're in. In this case, it depends on the planets, the astrological, right? But there's also relevant mathematics. What are the systems that you can create that you can reduce math concepts to? So like I plus W plus D is intent plus will plus direction, right? And that gives you your path. What is your intent? What is your will to power? What is your direction of that power, right? So if you can break down a philosophical concept into a mathematical principle or create an image for that principle, then you have something that you can talk about in your second lesson. So that way you can get a little bit more in depth about what it is you're going to share, not just the overall framework through which you're sharing it. So, example, what is the principal energy behind what it is you're doing? What is going to cause that change with those people for your course that you're building? What is going to be placement in position A? What will be the relationship between position A and relationship to position B? In this case, what is the yin state? What is its period of darkness? What is the sad? What is the negative aspect of that journey? And then what happens and the positive aspect of that journey? So that way you have the parallels between this is what was and this is what's going to be. So that way you can balance between this is the journey that I'm going to take this person on to cause this kind of transformation, understanding these psychological principles as it was going to be applied to that manuscript that I referenced earlier. So by doing that, it creates a very simple way to use your information in a way that lets you structure it. So that way it makes it a very quick, very easy way to give a lot of meat or to make it very short, so you only have to go live maybe 30 or 45 minutes and talk about the story that's involved behind it or the application of that story in the marketplace. But this way it gives you a rapid fire, this is your second lesson, this is your mathematical principles that are easy to follow, can stack and compound to create schemas later on. So that way you have this formula here, that formula there, and then those are your talking points for greater lessons. Those are your talking points on social media. Those are your talking points on other people's stages, so that you can say, hey, look, I'm going to break down my work in this framework so that way it's rapid delivery. So that I know that it works because this is the formula that gets you there, and it works every single time. This is how you build those kinds of lessons out. So this is a really quick lesson on doing that but it's really powerful in its delivery to create very concise, structured content. So, do this with your people, and you'll have a lot of really quick success in being able to compress what is your information into a framework, into a delivery mechanism that you can then go and talk about and expand out